Okay, try not to be angry because in this video you're gonna just see comrades eating and eating and eating. But if you stay towards the end, I will show you something interesting about why comrades eat. Because we need to get the word out there and get to know what's really going on deeper than just reading headlines and throwing a tantrum. Because decision made, unstoppable, South Africa will prosper. So if you up for that, please press like and let's go ahead and see this article. PRASA blows 2.5 billion fixing trains and then discards them to rot. This is what they look like. 2.5 billion spent on dropping these things right there. So the passenger PRASA has paid contractors 2.5 billion to refurbish trains it doesn't use and dumps them across the country. So News 24 can exclusively reveal that the parastatal will spend another 5 billion repairing more trains that won't be used. It's called the GO project. You know how we like our abbreviations. A program to rehabilitate PRASA's old grey and yellow rolling stock, and they'll see the parastatal spend 7.5 billion rands in 5 years to 2027. So this contract was signed when David Mpelo was the CEO acting. He would have received a resolution from the PRASA board. So this is not just some one man going crazy. The board authorized him to sign it off. And PRASA's board and Mpelo also had the concurrence of then Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula, who gave the green light in 2022. So there we go. We have David Mpelo, the acting CEO, Leonard Ramatlakane, the PRASA board chairperson at the time, and we have Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, who was then Transport Minister. Okay, this gets crazier as you go down. The details about PRASA fixing old trains and then ditching them to rot was investigated by Weber Wenzel, the law firm. So they commissioned the law firm to carry out the investigation in May 2024. I wish they just gave me the money because I would produce the same report without even going there. But at least they give us numbers. So they say the main reason PRASA no longer needs those old trains, which have been mainstay for South Africans' passenger trains for many years, is that the new blue-white fleet is sufficient to meet the entity's needs. So the demand for passenger trains plummeted significantly in the last 5 years after the infrastructure, railway lines, stations, depots were vandalized and looted during the pandemic. The damage runs into hundreds of billions. Just think about that for a second. They wanted to raise VAT to raise about 28 billion. Well, just the infrastructure, 100 billion rands worth of loss. Information gleaned from PRASA's latest corporate plans shows that the company transported 16.69 million passengers 2021-22. The figure declined to 14 million 22 to 23, and then it climbed a bit to 19.7 23-24. Now their targets, these people have vision. Their target is to transport 186 million passengers in 2027, 400 million in 2030, and 1 billion by 2035. Now, let's look at how they're performing so far. This is where they are with all of this happening. But the plan is that by next year it will be 60 and then get doubled and then doubled and doubled. and doubled to 1 billion. I believe in you, PRASA. If you believe in PRASA like I do, comment at the bottom and say, yes, they will meet these targets. Absolutely. All right, so the parastatals started using the blue and whites manufactured by Gibela Rail Consortium in Danota in Niger. In 2014, PRASA and Gibela, a joint venture led by Alstom, signed a 51 billion contract that would see Alstom deliver 600, right? But Gibela has delivered half of that, and PRASA only uses half of that. We don't even want to read all this and try follow all the nonsense that will be said, but here's what's happening. So there are approximately 50 coaches in use nationally. Gauteng and KZN have no coaches in service at all. 244 coaches have undergone work. So let's see it in pictures. So the Western Cape has 13% of the coaches that are actually operating. The Eastern Cape, it's an ANC stronghold. So for now, it's got 7.4%. Don't call me a prophet, but let's come back in a year. It'll be half of that or a quarter of that or zero. This is 79% of all coaches are not in use. But why? Why have we come to a place where this is like, whatever, it's the usual? Well, let's hear what one of the ANC stalwarts, 2022, the stalwart is Matthews Posa. He says, when people spoke out against corruption, misuse of power, absent service delivery, discrimination, and insensitivity to the plight of the poor, some so-called leaders were quick to call them counter-revolutionary, clever blacks. You lying. No one's ever said clever whites. Clever blacks. Whites are allowed to be clever, according to Marxists. It's blacks who are not allowed to be clever. And if they are clever, their cleverness is an insult to blackness. So don't lie and say clever whites. They were called clever blacks, capitalists, or protectors of minority interests. Of course, the minority meaning whites. Why does this happen? Well, let me show you an article that many of you are bringing to pass, but there is something that happens with Marxism. Here's what happens. And so ANC is doomed to this. They can't do nothing about it. Renewal can never happen if it means stop stealing. EFF can't do anything about it. VBS is not a shock to me. MK can't do anything about it because they are Marxists. Now, the other parties can have corruption, but they can fix it, because they are not Marxists. Any of the builder parties, if IFP started having a corruption problem, they could fix it. If the PA got a corruption problem and pressure from society, they could fix it. If Freedom Front developed a corruption problem, but they got pressure, they could fix it. The ANC, EFF, MK cannot fix it because corruption is not a mistake, it's a character. And it applies with everything that's Marxist, whether it's Marxists like racial Marxism, racial neo-Marxism in South Africa, whether it's proper socialism, all the way to communism. That's just how it works. Let's show you 3 studies here in the book. And what they found is that communism had produced a culture of corruption. Entire populations had been socialized into norms and expectations that made corruption part of their way of life. So we didn't invent the cold drink. Not surprisingly, most of the post-communist countries, even when they came out of it, post-Marxist countries of Central and Eastern Europe have found corruption not only to be retarding the development of market economies, but also to be undermining public trust in democratic institutions and public administrations. So this is not an ANC problem, it's not an EFF problem, it's not an MK problem, it's a Marxism problem. They follow the same philosophy that these countries followed. Pia Dlamini said this. He said, corruption is a feature, not a bug, of Marxism. Socialism. Every Marxist system is guaranteed to have a high level of corruption. So as long as you're voting ANC, EFF, MK, South Africa will have a high level of corruption. History proves it. Every study's proven it. Look at the countries that came out of Marxism in Europe. So this is not about blacks and white. It's about Marxists and non-Marxists. Post-communist European countries with levels of corruption consistently high, as warned, for example, the World Bank through its indicator control of corruption. The communist regimes provide incentives to bribe, either due to scarcity of goods or to the general belief that it's all right, or even encouraged to steal from the state. As the famous Czech saying illustrates, who does not steal from the state steals from his own family. So in Czech, which is come out of Marxism, they had a saying that if you don't steal from the state, we don't trust you because you're probably stealing from your family. So this was by Christina, a paper called Norms and Values Connected to Corruption. Is there a difference between post-communist countries and the rest of Europe? And the countries that came out of Marxism had higher corruption than the ones that didn't. So corruption in South Africa is no surprise. Just watch the news. If you hear them saying revolutionary, white minority, black majority, we must unite, then you just know, okay, stealing's going up. Let me give you my biblical reaction. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. See, what Marxism does is it calls evil good and calls good evil. It calls darkness light. It calls light darkness. It calls bitter sweet and sweet bitter. In other words, it rewires people's morality because it's no longer right and wrong. It's black and white. It's no longer good and bad. It's revolutionary and counter-revolutionary. It's no longer neighbor that I must love as myself. It's colonialists. It's the children of the colonialists. Meaning then, you get to rename anything. So what do you call envy? Well, you call it equality. What do you call anger? You call it standing for what is right. What do you call grudges? You call them redress injustices of the past. What do you call sabotaging of jobs? You call it transformation. What do you call having no standards? You call it blackness. What do you call someone speaking the truth? You call it sellout. What do you call cleverness? You call it an enemy. What do you call facts? You call them racist. What do you call having no vision? You call it revolution. Woe to those who call evil good, good evil. Who put darkness for light, light for darkness. Bitter for sweet, sweet for bitter. What do you say when someone says these standards are very low? You say it's not solidarity. What do you call vision for your country? You call it colonized. Call evil good and good evil. Call darkness light. Call stealing redress or transformation or And light, call it darkness. What do you call giving freedom to people to do business? You call it neoliberal. You call light darkness. What do you call turning citizens into children that you can control? You call it compassion for the poor. What do you call making people dependent and you're the only one who drives in blue lights and you keep getting richer while saying we were oppressed? You call it a comrade or a fighter or a revolutionary. Woe to you! May the vengeance of God that has been released be doubled in Jesus' name. No man can serve two masters, because either he will love the one and hate the other, or he will respect the one and disrespect the other. Send this to a black Christian brother so that they can hear me say, listen, my brother, you cannot serve God and Karl Marx. Choose and throw one away. Either work on decolonizing and forget Jesus. You are confused. Or go with Jesus and forget revolution. You can't serve both. Please, I'm asking you to at least on purpose hate one. Hate the revolution or hate God. Please go ahead. Don't go to church Sunday and you vote ANC. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if you do, may you slip and fall when you get to church as you walk in. Don't read the Bible and wear yellow, green, and gold or a red beret or a green thing. No, throw away your Bible. Just find a good sangom, please. And start insulting Christians. Start calling me a confused by white Jesus guy. Please just pick a side. You can't serve God and Karl Marx. And you are going to slip and fall. If you vote ANC, vote EFF, vote MK, or support them in any way, listen, within a month, when you are dancing at church, you're going to fall in front of everybody. Boom! Okay, let's make history together. See you. Please go to please go to the bottom and check the event that's coming up and join with us. Let's get this message out. All right, cheerio. Let's make history together.